Welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments, the best growth mindset podcast recognized by Million Podcasts and ranked as a top mindset podcast by FeedSpot. We're proud to be in the top 1% on Listen Notes. Join Dr. Alisa Whyte as we explore powerful insights and strategies to elevate your mindset. Let's dive in.
Welcome back, Disruptors. Welcome back to Mindset Mastery Moments with yours truly, Dr. Alisa Whyte. We have another amazing episode for you. You know, our show is where we believe mindset isn't just something you have, it's the key that unlocks everything we believe. Mindset isn't just something you have, it is the key that unlocks everything we want in life, in our career, in our business, in our relationships. And today's guest is no stranger to Mindset Mastery Moments, the beautiful and gorgeous Tisha Marie Cain. If you haven't heard about her before, well, you should now. She has been in a circumstance that she overcome powerfully and standing mightily in her superpower, which is her authenticity, her purpose, creating impact not just in her neighborhood, but around the globe. She was once faced with 14 years in prison for something she did not do. Of course, it didn't happen. She's here with us. She survived domestic abuse, injustice, systemic oppression, and all the crazy things that so many of us go through daily. And yet she reclaimed her freedom, not through the system, but she says through her mind. She is here with us again today to talk about and go deeper into the conversation about trauma, transformation, and just taking your power back. Tisha, we're so happy to have you back on the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How have you been?
That's a lot. It's so beautiful to have someone read that back. I think sometimes we get so busy in just the convoluted space of life that we forget how far we've come. And I don't know if you're like me, Alisa, but I keep raising the bar for myself. So I just keep
You
forgetting how far I've come. And it's just I'm so grateful and blessed to be here with you to record and you giving me a megaphone for my voice. So thank you so much for that.
So well deserved. I see you daily just inspiring and motivating and staying fired up and just empowered by your own dreams. Like you don't need anyone. Of course, you're grateful, but I see you just on fire every day. Let me tell those who are just now hearing you for the first time a little bit more about Tish. And she's probably going to be like, I thought you were done. Well, Tisha is also a clinical hypnotherapist, a master NLP practitioner. She's a #1 best-selling author who published quite a few books, and we're going to dive into it. And we have a couple more we want to dive into because the books are not just a book. They're like, I call these little life handbooks and manuals that you can tap into. These are the type of books that I love to read. But with over 25 years of executive leadership experience and prestigious law degree, she blends logic and intuition, science, soul, and courtroom clarity and heart-centered healing all in one. Her journey is absolutely extraordinary. And Tisha is here. She helps individuals to radically reclaim their freedom mentally, emotionally, financially. I said financially and spiritually through subconscious reprogramming, emotional clearing, and like I said, this lady is authentic and she's unapologetic. So she empowers us through unapologetic self-liberation. Again, that's unapologetic self-liberation. These terms are just so important, but you heard me say courtroom clarity. So Tish, we're going to jump right in. Tell us a little bit about how you bring, first of all, what on earth is courtroom clarity? Why do you use that in your work? Because obviously that sounds like a different type of clarity from just having clarity. So tell us what courtroom clarity means.
Yeah, so it's really diving deeper to comprehend and being a neurolinguistic practitioner. Words are everything. I mean, I'm a bit of a word nerd. So when I talk about courtroom clarity, what I talk about is who you are when you show up there. They don't get to tell you who
Mm,
you are. Um,
mm,
and and a lot of people, and they don't teach us this in the public school system, but there's a private sector to life and there's a
mm.
public sector to life. So right now, you and I are
Yes.
operating in the public,
Mm-hmm.
and I live a private life that no one gets to see. So when
Right.
I come up into these courtrooms, no one gets to tell me who I am. And they try to tell
Mm.
you that you're a person or um, you're a plaintiff or you're a defendant. And once you understand who you are, you
Mhm.
become unshakable. I am a living, breathing woman of God. And if you look
Mm.
at their statutes and their codes, they don't have woman or man in them. They have
Right.
person, and the person is a corporate entity. So I can go
Mhm.
deep in this. I teach about public and private, about keeping our affairs in the private. How silly
Mm.
are we to bring our affairs to the public?
Come
And
on. That's not wise.
when you bring your affairs to the public's going to harvest you. And
Mm.
been these systems have gone rogue for a long, long time. And so I teach
Mhm.
people how to behave outside of those systems. And a lot of it is coming back to
Wow.
home, coming back to who you are and showing up in your most authentic self with integrity and
Mhm.
loyalty and really coming. I use the word, and I kind of developed this myself, to come correct. If someone's harmed you in the past, they can simply come correct, and there's forgiveness in that. Come
Right.
correct, be who you are. So I do courtroom escorts and teach women of domestic violence how to show up authentically, how to show up in their power, how to show up
Mhm.
in their being. And I think Tony Robbins talks about this. If you've ever gone to a Tony Robbins show, right? I would say
So
show.
yeah, it's a whole production. Yeah, it's
Yes,
not
it's
just a
very
conference.
theatrical, right?
Yes.
But there's a lot of golden nuggets, and he's been doing this in the personal coaching and development space for a long, long time because he's transformed lives. But he talks about this 2 centimeter shift, when we're hoping that our court case is going to turn out, when we hope, hope,
Mm.
hope, and what the difference is when you're certain. It's just 2 centimeters from here to here.
Wow,
And
yes.
I get women to show up in their power, in their
Mhm.
strength, and more importantly, in their truth. And it's who
Mm.
they're being when they walk up into these courtrooms. And I do a lot of things about reciting scripture. I bring them to Ephesians 6:12, where it says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we
Right.
wrestle
Come on.
against principalities, right? And
Yes.
really bringing the person, even though I don't want to call them person, the woman, the man, back to home within themselves.
Themselves.
So I just took a long Miss Tisha Marie
No.
Cain will go all the way around, but I promise you I'll come back.
Back will come back, and it's a route because nothing is I believe a lot of times we're looking for, "Well, just give me that simple answer." But
Mm,
as mindset coaches, we know that nothing is just what it seems. We know that no thought okay, let's start here. We know that whatever repeated action our clients or anyone we're dealing with seem to be stuck in that loop with, didn't just become a repeated action or them just being stuck. You just don't get stuck for being stuck. And we also know that behind that repeated action, there were repeated words and thoughts. So if we're going to go through, we got to have to go back and clean up, back up. We're getting these results that we don't want because we've been doing these things on repeat. We've been also saying some things on repeat, and we've been having some thoughts on repeat. So we have to always take you back on that loop that you came to get where you're stuck to get you back to unstoppable. So
yes.
I love that you do take us around the long way because there's no other way to do it if you're really going to bring transformation, right? So
Yeah.
I just love the way you do it because that's the way I do it too. And I tell people, don't ask me if you don't want to hear the whole truth and nothing
Mm,
but the truth because we're
good.
not going to go to, I don't know why I keep getting in an argument with my mom. I'm going to go, so how do you really feel about your mom? What do you mean? I love my mom. No, outside of your love for her. And then we start going back. Oh, when did you first feel that? When did you first think that? I don't know. I've been thinking it forever. Okay. And we're taking data. So we always have to go back. So unapologetically take us back, Trish. One of the things that you talk about when it comes to freedom is about what happens outside of us, the verdict, the outcome, the relationship status. But you've said real liberation starts within. Can you
Mm.
share with us what breakthrough looked like for you in your own journey and how we can apply that principle in our own lives?
That's a good question. What breakthrough worked for me? In the past, I suffered from anxiety, depression, panic disorder, insomnia. I had chronic PTSD. I was a victim of domestic violence. And
Yes.
I was through the family court. I was being wrung out through the family court. And every time I hit the court steps, I would literally vomit because I was so scared. And I was like, what are they going to do to me today? What's going to happen today? And I would run a series of strategies on all the possibilities that the judge or so-called judge would run for that day, and I
Mhm.
would get the 10 strategies, and he'd always give me the 11th. But
Hmm.
what I could hang my hat on at the end of the day is no matter what they said, I always could come back to my truth.
Mm.
And my truth was pure liberation inside of me. I knew the truth. And also, I also want to preface that, anyone going through the family court, dad has his truth, mom has her truth, the children have their truth, right? And honoring all of that. And somewhere in the middle is
Yes.
the
The
truth.
truth.
Uh-huh. Yes. And so the breakthrough came for me was when I said, "Hey, I know the truth here. You guys could run a smear campaign so thick, and just because people believe the lies does not make it true." And so I
Mhm.
showed up differently because the remedy was within me and I knew the truth. And even though they spun it and used legalese and conflated it and did all of these things, at
Mhm.
the end of the day, I could hang my hat on my truth. But it was
Yeah.
really coming clear on what my truth was. And once
Mhm.
I understood what my truth was, that then became my North Star. And everything that I did was a push towards my North Star, and that was what lit the night on nights where I thought about suicide. I thought about
Mhm.
suicide every single day. I never harmed myself, but I
Right.
thought about suicide like maybe I'd just be
You just
better if I
wanted
was
it to
off
end.
planet, you know? And when you're going through the depths of that, I didn't even know that there were coaches out there to help you grieve and help you
Mhm.
transmute what was happening, and I came to it through the power of prayer, through the
Mhm.
power of surrender, through the power of forgiveness. And so
Mhm.
today I teach that the remedy is within. And for you and I, this is really easy. We say, you see the world as you are, not as the world
The world
is,
is
right? And so you and I, this is common
that's
language. But
for
for
us,
those
yeah.
out there in corporate America or in the world that are still just doing the grind to survive,
Mhm.
they haven't heard this type of language. But it really is the truth. You see the world
Mhm.
as you are, not as the world is. And so,
Is.
you know what I did, Alisa, is I took a notepad.
Mhm.
And what I did is I took a notepad and I wrote his name, right? And then I listed all the things that I disliked about him.
Talked about him.
And then I went back and I crossed out his name up at the top. And then I
Mhm.
put my name. And I looked at that list and I
Ooh.
cleared up all the things on that list inside of me,
Wow.
and then he changed. It was phenomenal. And so this is what I teach. So you see, I went to the office. I had a early client yesterday and there was some homeless. I'm here in California. There was some homeless people down and they had apologized and said, "Hey, I'm sorry. Well, we're getting out of here." And I said, "Okay, no worries. Please be on your way." And I looked back and they had left things behind, boxes and some things. And I immediately said, "Okay, this is in my reality. They're leaving things behind. Where am I leaving parts of myself behind today?" Because I
Correct.
saw it. I'm like, "Ooh, I see you. Okay." And it became yesterday this reclamation of, okay, I'm going to be bringing all this to the table. I'm not leaving parts of
Right.
myself behind. I'm going to bring it all in today. And then yesterday by I think it was 9 a.m. I was solid again. But
We're
I
solid.
looked at what was in my reality and come correct within my being of who I am and how I'm behaving. And then my whole world cleaned up.
Perception. You looked at, and this is something that I so encourage. A lot of times, it could be. It was probably a little bit of an offsetting experience to see them outside. Number one, because you're like, it's just sad how many people are homeless, and then knowing the distraction it brings at this facility. But what you did is that shift that I talk about all the time. Why is this situation in front of me? Why is it presented in
Mhm.
front of me? And as you said, the premise is we see the world as we are, and not as it is. So what am I supposed to learn is what she's telling us. And as they left their stuff, you're like, what stuff am I leaving? And that for me is why I would say, and you can comment on this, Tisha, is where forgiveness becomes easier, where understanding and sorting through what you're experiencing with other people comes in, where even though you forgive someone, you are logical in how their behavior can continue to affect you positively and or negatively, and
Mm.
decide whether the risk or the reward is where you want to go. That's a mouthful, right? But I'm going to have to play back what I said to unpack what I just said. Tell us, when it comes to compassion and empathy,
Mm.
right? With that, what you just described and my elaboration of it, we're in a space right now in the United States. Let's not worry about the globe because my mama said, clean your own house before you worry about anybody else's house. So I can go, oh my gosh, it's just a mess all over the globe. It's just so much happening. But there's a lot happening in America. Like you said, the kids have their truth. Mama has her truth. Dad has her truth. And then there's the truth, right? There's actual things that we all can say, this is happening. We're not going after opinions and whether you're left, right, green, blue, red, yellow. That's not what I'm talking about. The actual things that are like eggs are freaking $12 a tray. That kind of stuff for the most basic tray of eggs, the most generic, non-organic tray of eggs. How do we use your method of perception and reality and learning from what we're seeing and understanding it's our perception with some of the realities? How are you navigating? Because that might be the better thing. How are you navigating as far as mindset and behavior in this current time in the United States?
That's really good. And this is going to be a mouthful, but
Go for it. Unpack
right
it
now,
for
I
us.
believe that I am living heaven on earth.
You said that in our
I
first episode. Yes. Talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe I read this book called Parallel Universe of Self by Frederick
Mm,
Dobson.
okay. It's
And the
going in
reading
my
is
library.
very dense, and you have to play it
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over to really get it. I believe I'm living heaven on earth because people say, "Can you believe what we're going through?" I said, "Yes, it's a great time to be alive right now." And the
Mm,
work that I'm doing right now, my belief system is there's no more important work right now than changing people's mindset.
come
Right?
on. Come on.
You can walk into the grocery market and you can see cheese at $11 and you can
Yeah.
focus on all that, or you can just simply get your cheese and walk out because that's a staple in your family. I don't even look I don't even look at again, I'm blessed because I don't even know the price of anything. I don't even check my bank account anymore because I just believe in reality creation. And it's a daily look, it's a daily decision to
Mm-hmm.
decide and act on what you want to see. And so I go out and I'm like, I am going to see some beautiful things today at my 5 a.m. walk. And then I see the birds and I see the trees. And I see
Mm-hmm.
this morning I saw how delicate and fragile the little birch leaves fluttered in the wind. And I thought, huh, wow, this is so beautiful. And so right now I'm just thinking, I turn off all these distractions. You don't get to tell me what's happening. If we go back to the root, and I have a book, Radical Freedom and Radical Courage. If we go back to
Mm-hmm.
the root
Mm-hmm.
of things, radical means
Mm-hmm.
root,
Mm-hmm.
we can look at back when we had tribes of people. This
Mm.
tribe didn't know about this tribe.
Didn't
We
know
had
what they
no
were doing.
Yeah, we had no clue. You were just taking care of the mamas and the daddies, and you were having a bonfire, and you were doing a rain dance, and you were
Mm-hmm.
just concerned with what was in your tribe at the moment. So I
Mm-hmm.
say, and of course, I'm a humanitarian, and I'm here to help. I say I'm here to save one soul at a time by pulling them out of the fire of, their
They're
their
thinking.
yeah, their thinking and their mindset. But I'm really concerned, is my love first for my family first,
Mm.
and then my community, and then I
Mm-hmm.
sprinkle out, okay, are we good? Good. Now we get to go out and go. And I just focus in on what's really important. Are we happy? Are we healthy? Are we doing what we need to be doing? And just staying real present with what's under this roof and not
Yes.
be worrying about all this other noise and distraction and scroll. I don't scroll much. I don't consume social media. I post and get off, because I
Mhm.
think there's a message if I feel compelled. But right now, I'm so excited. I'm
Mhm.
so excited to create the life of my dreams because I know I've been playing small for a long time and there's
Mm.
still a ceiling that I want to go, and I'm here to
Yes.
help people shift their mindset and create the life of their dreams. And it's kind of cliche, the life of your dreams, but
No,
really like
it's my
what is it
cliche.
that you
I live it
want?
too. Yeah.
Yeah, what is it that you want? And then just go hard at that. Go hard at that. It's really that simple. I think
Yes.
we as humans confuse it and conflate it and just, oh, it can't possibly be that simple. And it
Right.
really is. And so I
Right.
I just become a walking talking breathing example for you to, well, if Tisha could do it, I can too. Well, heck yes, and let me show you, right? So
Yes.
I'm navigating, it's great. I mean, I'm not so tapped out that I don't understand that people are suffering. Like I saw those
Right.
homeless people yesterday, you know?
Right. Exactly.
And they had happy smiles on their face.
A
They had
lot of times
blankets,
they do.
they had blankets, they had a stroller full of their, chips and things that they had, and he smiled and said, "Hey, we're gonna get out of here real soon." I'm like, "Great. Thank you so much." And so I'm not tapped out that I don't see it. And that's not the reality I'm living. And I'm living at a different parallel universe, and we all can do that. Isn't that
We all
fantastic?
we all can do that, and that's what I want you to tell us. Like, how can we allow ourselves to get into a parallel universe that one of the things I say in my work is who you say you want to become. I know you said that it's so cliche, the life of our dreams, but let's face it, everybody's waking up thinking two things, in my opinion. One is, I gotta go to work today, or I gotta do this today, and I gotta do that today because I want this dream. And some people are waking up saying, I get to wake up. I get to have my arms. I get to have my legs. I get to have this job that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it pays my bills. I get to. And those two mindsets, but the reason we're all saying that is because we're working towards some goal. So you said you want something, but your mindset has to be in alignment with what you say you want. Your behaviors has to be in alignment. Your actions, your plans, your way of being and doing has to. So you're inviting us to consider, while this may be the truth of the world, of the America you're living in, you can create a parallel to that based on what you say deep in your heart, or maybe out loud to your spouse or your community, or maybe you're just the only one who knows, you and God. Tell us, how do we create that parallel for ourselves? What steps would you tell us to take to be able to do that like you do?
Yeah. So I recently launched my book, Successful Women Show Up Differently. And there's 6 transformational habits to help you win from the inside out. I
Yes.
was able to, let's see, I got 6 awards. Number 1 in business image and etiquette, number 1 in business mentoring and coaching, number 1 in business and money short reads, number 1 in self-help short reads, number 1 in women in business. I mean, it's 45 minutes. Grab the book, right? But people
Right.
people think it's $8 on Amazon. People think it can't possibly be that simple. This is my epic morning routine. These are my 6 habits that I do every single day without fail, because I think I talked about this before, is I start my morning with an epic morning routine and I fill my cup. So from 5 to 7 a.m., that's mommy time. I do more in the morning between 5 and 7 than most people do all day. I spend 10 minutes of red light therapy, 10 minutes of sauna, 10 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of a journal writing, 10 minutes of reading. This morning, I read like 3 chapters in 3 different books. But to shift out of here, the transformational habit number 3 is called the radical reset mindset. And
Mhm.
basically, just a little secret, it's quantum physics. So if you go
Talk
in
to us about
here,
it.
yeah, the radical mindset reset. And what it does is it resets your mind. And so a lot of this is awareness is healing, right? So you have to be aware of your thoughts. So if you're traveling in your automobile, and I say it that way for a reason, I don't say driving in your car because you take a benefit. But when you're traveling, you have a right to travel. Did you know you didn't even need a driver's license to travel?
Oh,
We don't need
right.
driver's license to travel,
We don't.
right?
That's
Because
the
if
ones I use to go to Tahiti and stuff.
Right.
I don't need a
Right?
driver.
You don't need a driver's license to travel. I mean, if having a driver's license was mandatory, why do you have to apply? So there's a lot of things that we've been lied to from the onset of our birth that I don't want to overtake your conscious, but I do have an expansive consciousness that God has allowed me to have all of this knowledge. And so I
Mhm.
teach it in this $8 book. So I would invite your listeners and my listeners,
To
grab the
make
book
sure
and
grab a
act
book.
like yeah, grab the book and act like you invested. We don't spend money because when we
We
spend money,
invest
right? We
words.
don't spend
Yes.
time. I don't spend time with you. We're investing time
Investing
with
your time with these
sisters,
yes.
right? So act like you invested $800 and do the thing. And the quantum physics is just being aware when you're traveling in your automobile down the
Mhm.
roadway and someone cuts you off it teaches you to say, "Oh, wow, they need to get to their family by all means. I'm just on lunch hour, go ahead by all means." And it reshapes your mindset by every hour on the hour it's a 9-day protocol. For the first 3 days, you set a timer on your phone every 3 hours. Ding, ding. And you just check in. When your phone goes ding, you go, okay, what am I thinking? And I
Mhm.
say, okay, this water's too hot or whatever. And you're like, that sucks. Well, no, thank you for the water. So you just switch it real
Mhm.
quick. And then
Mhm.
the next 3 hours, ding, okay, it's a beautiful day. You're good. Next 3 hours, oh, man, I don't have enough food in the refrigerator. And you're like, oh, thank you for the apple on my counter. And you just switch it. But
Mhm.
after the 9 days of doing the radical mindset reset, it's my quantum physics protocol. You'll realize, wow, I'm out of the negative loops that I was telling
Mm.
myself because I was
Mhm.
more aware of and I call it the itty bitty shitty committee right here, right? You're more aware of what's going
The
on in the itty bitty
itty bitty
shitty
shitty
committee.
committee. I love it. I love it. That's what I said. Oh, that's like I bust out last week on stage telling the audience that, all those shouldas, you should flush it where your shit goes. Because that's all a shoulda is.
That
Naughty, naughty girls we are, but
don't
we're
be
not taking
shooting
it.
on yourself. I
No,
love that.
exactly. The shouldas is shitting. You're shitting on yourself. Yep. So
Yes.
itty bitty shitty committee is out the door, and here comes new rewiring protocols for your thinking and your thoughts. Radical mindset reset. I love it.
Yeah, it's radical, but you got to do it. It works if you work it, right? A lot of people are not committed I'm so devoted and committed to self. Like I even watched myself yesterday. A couple of C-suite executives invited me out to lunch, and I said, "Heck yeah, I'm going," because they think I'm special, right? They
Exactly.
think I'm special. And I'm going to go out to lunch with them. I'm not going to go out to lunch with anybody who doesn't think I'm special because if they don't think I'm special, they don't think themselves are
Are
special.
special. Right.
And I thought they were pretty special. And I got to hang out with them during the lunch hour and talk
Right.
shop and mindset and how I can help their corporate coaching. I'm doing corporate coaching for a whole corporate company, so they're
Yes.
bringing me in to run values and to connect in with their executives to kind of just tap in, turn them on and tune them in to
Right.
what's real. Because I think
Yes.
sometimes we get so lost in the noise. And so if you
Yes.
just do the radical reset mindset, that transformational habit right there, I should
Hmm.
charge $1 million. Let's be real.
Because it's worth it. If you
It's
just
so
get
worth
that.
it.
Yes, if you just do that, you will change so much in your life because everything, as I say, begins with your thoughts.
Mhm.
You're not getting nowhere if your thoughts are not fixed. Or let's just slip away from the fix. If your thoughts are not in direction where you say you want to go, what's the point? Like, you can't start with your behavior because that's already 3 doors down. You
Yeah.
can't start with even your language because that's only as a result of. So your thinking is always where the reset has to happen first. It's like, I don't know. It's not one of those questions about what comes first if it's the chicken and the egg. In this case, it is your thoughts. We know that your behavior and your lack of or your whatever, look at where you're winning. For example, I tell people, you've already got a winning mindset. You just have it for where you've chosen to put it. For
Ooh,
example,
focus.
you get up every day and you might be tired and you're like, no, it's willpower that gets me to go to work because I know I have to pay my bills. You chose and you decided ever since that you like, I'm not even going to say yesterday, you decided that 5 days a week you need to show up so you get your paycheck. And guess what? Every Friday, your paycheck is in your bank account. So you have a way of training your mind in the direction you want it to go, no matter what you feel like, no matter what's happening with the economy. You already know how to do it. All I'm inviting you to do is to do the same thing over here when it comes to your weight, when it comes to self-care, when it comes to increasing wealth. I'm inviting you to do the same type of programming that you will. Number one, this is where I want to go. So I will think this way, do this, speak this only because no one can talk you out of getting to work. That's why you want to run people over in traffic because they're slowing you down. What if you commit with rewiring your thought process with this radical reset that Tisha is talking about and do that in every area of your life over time? What will happen?
And typically the testimonials I have received from clients over the years is this. They've done the 9-day protocol and they have seen major transformation. And then 6 months happens. And then they notice that their mindset is kind of crappy again. And so they call me and they're like, I'm kind of slipping. Okay, great. Can you redo the radical mindset protocol?
Reset. That's why it's a reset.
And redo it. And then typically what happens is they don't have to get through the 9 days. They don't have to go through the 9 days because they've already reprogrammed their subconscious before. So they typically do the first day and the second day and it's reactivated and they're like, the angels start singing and everything's great. But it's quantum physics. It's popping things into matter that like I teach people about money mindset too. Money is the easiest thing to get. I can pop $3,500 into matter in a minute, but people don't believe that. And so you find evidence of your belief system. So does life get to be easy? Or is this life going to be hard? Or are you shackled by the chains of your family, of your health? I had a client yesterday. She said, well, my whole family has fibromyalgia, so it just makes sense that I do too. And I'm like, no. You know why? Because I'm a living, breathing example of that too. I used to have fibromyalgia and it was triggered on the onset of me being a victim of domestic violence. And I rewired, and I rewired the DNA in my body and I don't have it anymore.
And
I don't take any medicine
from your mind.
From my mind. I am not bound by the shackles of my family either. Like, I've been given this health crisis because of my family. Nope. You can change that too. You can change that too.
And I tell people, and so your grandma was a drunk and so was your great grandmother, but you're not a drunk. So how did you escape that? That's how I disrupt people's mindset. So you're fine with fibromyalgia. That's why you have it. But you weren't fine with being an alcoholic. That's why you don't have it. So how about you just don't become cool with fibromyalgia? Again, these parallel universes, that you talk about, my thing is I can show you that you are a success. I can show you that you've been winning in your life and that you have a habit of winning. You just haven't been tapped in to tune in and tweak this one over here. That's it. Yes, I'm not a magician. And that's why you say it's like you can bring $3,500 into existence right now only because you already have, like, for example, you have brought youth into your existence with deliberate actions. You just told me what I'm like, I knew she was doing good stuff back there when she said red light therapy, hot yoga, da 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 da. I'm like, a lot of people would look at you and be like, I want to look as gorgeous as Tisha Marie. And it's like, but you have to put the mindset in that I'm going to discipline myself to have a routine that produces the results of reflecting from the inside out, self-care. Because how you look and how you feel, I don't care what you say. It's a direct reflection of your self-care, how you're taking care of your mind, your body, your spirituality, your energy, your meals and what you put in your belly and your stomach, all those things matter. It still comes back to how you're caring for yourself. Self-care. People hear self-care, they think about pampering. No, even the red light therapy is not pampering.
It is a necessity.
Right. And if you really, there's some other episodes with some other guests, medical doctors who, when you hear how these little things and these little things are affecting us, you'll realize that red light therapy is actually needed to combat some of the things you're experiencing with everyday stuff. Like, so we did not need a faucet 500 years ago because we had time to go to the well. But because we got faucets, now we can wash dishes inside. We bought more dishes. We're cooking more food. We're eating more food. It just, you see what I'm saying? So if we have cell phones now, when we didn't have it so many years ago, we need to combat that. That's why we need more time away. We need to think about spending time away from electronic devices and doing things and healing practices that replaces some of what this convenience of being able to call Tisha and text her from another state, another country, the convenience of having that came with a price, the cons and the
Mm.
pros. So based on that, that's where you're going to now see, well, what has science and technology brought to do the repair. And so again, as I said, when she opened her mouth and said that, it makes sense if you're watching us on video why she's so radiant, because she has prioritized self-care, and how should I say, the word is self-responsibility,
Yeah,
which a
for
lot of
sure.
us, you can't have that. She's responsible for what she puts in her mouth. She's accountable for what she does in the morning when she first wake up. It's not a bowl of cereal,
Mm.
and these things are thoughts. Weren't they thoughts first, Tisha? Because you
Yeah.
were suffering with fibromyalgia, a PTSD, and all those things, and you had this thought: what could my life look like without these things?
Yeah,
Curiosity.
they had given me 14 medications, Elisa, where one of those medications was this one called gabapentin. And they
Mm.
said you could go from 100 milligrams a day to 3,600 milligrams a day. So we'll just see what's going to go on. I'm like, do you guys know what you're doing here? Or am I an experiment? Like
You
what
are an
is going on?
experience.
Oh my goodness. And my body, I was so numb. It just kept numbing me and numbing me. And I was so numbed out. And it was just in one day and 1 hour, I said, no freaking more. And I took radical responsibility for my life. And I
Mhm.
do all the diets. I watch what goes in my mouth. I
Mhm.
watch what goes into my ears. I watch
Mm.
what goes into my eyes. I do
Mm.
all the diets to make sure that my vessel is clear and clean so I can be a divine
Conduit.
channel for
Mhm.
source.
Mhm.
I just every day I do my little affirmations and I say, God, whatever God means to you. I pray to Gus, God, universe, and spirit. I
Mhm.
say, God, Gus, who do you need me to be to hold your vision? Because I'm
Right.
here to pull souls out of the fire and transform their mindset on a global level. I have clients all over the world. Which is so
Mhm.
great about these systems is, we get to do this via video
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
But who do you need me to be to hold your vision? And I can't give people the best of me if I haven't first given myself the best of me in the morning.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think your friend over there, Andy Elliott, that guy, he's so amazing. He's
Ah,
yeah, he's like he doesn't even employ anybody. If you don't have a six pack, you can't work for him. Because
see?
what he says is show me someone who
Show me
is
the proof.
physically fit that doesn't have a physically fit business. You're not going to find it. You're
Thank
going to
you.
find someone who's physically fit who has a physically. So if you start with yourself and you're doing reps in the
Then you're the
gym,
product. Yes.
then your business is going to be a reflection. And so I say, I am a physical manifestation of what's happening on the inside.
Inside of you. Yes, absolutely. That's we all are. The truth is.
Yeah.
And the more work you put in, that you manifest differently, you manifest higher, the frequency raises, and you can see it physically. What I always tell people, by the time they start to, just like in life, when you start to see someone losing weight, they're already way into the process of whatever their routines have changed to be. By the time someone starts noticing, you're already at like the second month of those changes, habits, and thought processes before you've already probably lost about at least 15 pounds by the time
Yeah.
someone starts noticing. And all you do is, the more people start noticing and more people notice, because you're going further. And this is why I say everything about what we do and what we want in life is an inside job. It's an
Mm.
inside job because if I was waiting for Tisha to see that I've been putting in work, waking up every morning, doing my meditation and getting my 30-minute workout in, drinking my warm tea and not putting any sugar in it, and then fasting till, 1 in the day. For Tisha, who lives in California, me in Arizona, she does not see me doing those things. But when
Mm-mm.
I pop on screen at about month 2 of consistently doing those things, because she's been familiar, she's like, have you been losing weight? But girl, I've been working so hard. So if I was waiting for the external validation, I would have quit at probably day 7.
Mm.
Because at day 7, I recorded with Tish, but Tish couldn't notice it. This didn't actually happen. I'm just making this up because this is the reality. This is why everything about it is mindset. Everything is about internal and radical self responsibility and self care and self love. That ownership of going to the root, because no one will do it for you. And guess
Mm.
what? Tish will mention, "Oh, you're looking great. Are you losing weight?" And she'll say that and she'll move on. She's not going
Yeah.
to come back here and be like, "Well, hey, Elise, I'm calling to make sure you're still keeping up with that routine because I like the way you look." Because she's my sister, she might, but she's not going to do it every day because she's got a life. She's already working 2 hours ahead of the rest of us. Come on now. So even if she wants to, she wouldn't be able to do. And that's why I'm saying you've got to take ownership of the way you
Mm.
think, what you speak, what you do, so you can be in ownership of your results. Results are guaranteed where thoughts, words, and actions align.
Yes. Yeah. And it really is that easy. Do you want it? How bad do you want it?
Mm,
Right?
right.
That's like how bad. Like when I do weight release, we don't say weight loss because if you lose it, you can find it. But when you release, right?
These things about words, I'm going to
I
ask you a question.
know.
Keep going because there's a question about that reframing.
So when because I do a weight release hypnosis and it works every time. And interesting enough, as the practitioner, I go into trance myself as I'm delivering the hypnosis script to my client. And I
Mhm.
normally release about 3 to 4 pounds after every hypnosis weight release session because it
Love it.
okay, cool. I
Yes.
don't need that, right? My
Right.
go-to is See's candy. I mean, if I don't have See's candy in this house, I get kind of goofy, but I
Right.
need my little chocolate every day.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just really how bad do you want it? How bad do you want
Right.
it? You don't want it. And I have to come in hard and strict sometimes with my clients. You don't want it bad enough. Well, what? No,
Imma tell you.
sorry. You don't want it bad enough because if you wanted it bad enough, you'd have it.
You'll
And
figure it out.
oh, really? Yeah, yeah. Let's focus on that. And so I get them to focus up and really carve back what their North Star is.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. Because that's the thing that's needed. So let's address the elephant in the room. You have literally flipped about, I think we're up to about 18 words in the vocabulary in this conversation, and we're only at 45 minutes. What is the connection? And of course, I'm not asking this for myself, but it could also bring actual even more power to what I already know. What is the connection between your thinking, manifesting, and the way you are saying words, like not weight loss, but weight release, not understanding, but overstanding and understanding,
Or comprehension.
comprehension, all these words? Why are these words so important? Why do you keep flipping them and
Yeah, to
rephrasing
come
them in your sentences? Because you're doing it a lot, and people think, "Oh, that we are the woo. They're the woohoo people. They they just want to say stuff so they can be different." No, no. Tell us why, Tisha.
Yeah, that's great. That's a really good question. I flip it a lot because I want to come correct.
Mm,
We need to come correct on the language. Sometimes people say something, I'm like, "What are you meaning?" Right? When I write court documents for the court, I tell them what dictionary I'm using so they
mm,
don't conflate my words. You don't get to tell me what words I'm using. I know exactly. I take radical responsibility. I know what my words mean.
mhm,
And you don't get to tell me what my words mean. So when you understand something,
mhm.
you stand under someone's authority.
Mm.
I don't stand under anybody's authority but
Nope.
God.
Thank you.
And
And
if
he
you
doesn't need you
think
to acknowledge that in a conversation with him by saying a certain word, right?
right? And I got in trouble in my court career, in family court career about 10 years ago. I got in trouble because I called the judge in the room. I called him by his first name, Alan. I said, Alan, check it out.
I could see
Yeah.
you doing that.
Yes, I did. I said, Alan, check it out. The presiding judge has already told you that we're not coming back here on Monday. So, on and for the record, I just need to be very clear that you're making us come back here on Monday because, Alan, check it out. You're violating the presiding judge's orders. And he said, sanctioned $200, Mrs. Cain, for disrespecting this court. You will refer to me as judge. And I said, huh? I said, where's my little it's not here. Is it here? No. I said, really? I said, because we are not parties to the same indenture. You took an oath to defend and support the Constitution of the United States, which is almost 250 years old, and we're still under this garbage. You've taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. I've taken an oath to my Bible, and my Bible says, please do not take any other oaths onto thee. And my Bible also says, woe unto you lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. And I said, Alan, check it out. I'm not going to be referring to you as judge. And he said, sanctioned $200.
So
And
that's a
Mrs.
second
Cain,
200.
and he said, Mrs. Cain, if you disrespect this court again, I'm going
I
to
will
throw you
hold
out
you
on
in
the sidewalk.
contempt.
Yeah. And I said, oh, really? I said, well, you're making some really big claims here. You're referring to yourself as my judge. So I'd like you to go ahead and turn my water into coffee, please, because you're making some very big claims. Because according to James 4:12, there's one lawgiver and one judge who can save and destroy. And I said, buddy, you ain't it, right? Because I was operating in the private and I wasn't operating in the public. And so he said, that's it, Mrs. Cain. We're going to throw you out on the sidewalk. I said, I accept your offer. I leave. And I left.
Accept your offer.
Yeah. So I left. And you know what, Lisa? They sent me, so I had $600 in sanctions.
All right.
They sent me an invoice that said that I owed this amount.
Mhm.
Well, if you know anything about constitutional law, which I do, because I went to law school for 3.5 years to get my law degree. So my little cliche is I help you win in the courtroom, I help you win in the boardroom, and I certainly help you win in life. But when I took the Constitution and I said, okay, you're referring to yourself as a judge and you've taken an oath to defend and support the Constitution, and I have your oath of office right here where you signed with your wet ink signature, you're bound by that oath. So if any of your listeners or my listeners go to Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the Constitution, it says I can only pay debts in gold and silver. But wait, we have a problem. In 1933, the government stole our gold. And in 1965, the government stole our silver. So we have a problem. How do I pay a debt? And if you look in the law books, which I have them all here, if you look in the law books under the definition of money, right? Because every word means something, and that's why I like to flip it and come correct. If you look in the law books under money, it says it's not a note. But if you go to your wallet right now, you're carrying a Federal Reserve note. That is not money. You need to come correct on what this little thing is. It's a note. It's a debt instrument, a fiat instrument.
Right.
And how do I pay a debt with a debt? Do you know what they did with that $600 invoice?
They
discharged it. And you got to be correct on the words. They discharged it, means washed away. Because once you know, you
calling you for my any legal stuff.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Most lawyers don't even know.
They
I
don't
don't know if
teach
they
us this in
know
law.
or they don't even, they wouldn't even. Like, this
They
is
don't
why
teach us
I
this
watch.
in law school. They don't
And
teach
people
us
don't
this in
understand. I've watched
Yep.
Scandal. I've watched How to Get Away with Murder. Only because they challenged my thinking about the law to look deeper.
Right.
Because a lot of what's quoted in these shows are things like she's a walking Olivia Pope.
Actually, I want to rebrand myself as the modern day Aaron Brockovich, who
Right?
meets Bob Ross and Leo Buscaglia. If you could take those three people, that's who I am, because I'm a painter as well.
It's true. It's true. Aaron Brockovich would be your thing, right? Because you're not bending it. You're standing on it. And a lot of what's practiced is not law. The fact that we see it from the way, look, there was a woman in front of a woman who was of Hispanic descent out of her car telling her as a citizen, let me see your ID. Now, I was like, what if we look it up and she can actually ask her that by law? She can ask her that. Like a lot of people are flipping out. She's not a police. She's not ICE. But what if by law, she can actually ask that question? What if there is a law, whether it was one written 200 years ago or just went into law? See, that's the thing. A lot of people are only making a big scene out of the major headlines of what's being put into law. But if you have the mindset that Tish and I have, where we're creating this parallel universe of this is the best time to be alive, the best time to build the brand, the best time to build a business, the best time to go snatch people up and get them to shift their mindset and overcome limiting beliefs, move from scarcity to abundance. It is now. You would take everything, you would become neutral and look at and I'm speaking to Americans, what the current administration is doing and say, how can what they were changing, what they're putting to law benefit what I'm put on this earth to do?
Or can I take it one step further?
Take it further. That's why we're talking.
I don't give a crap about statutes or codes. I don't care about any of their laws. When I travel down my highway in my automobile and I see a stop sign, that stop sign has no authority over me. I stop because I love my neighbor, because I come correct. I am the remedy within. I don't care about your statutes or codes because I take full responsibility for who I am. And if you know Miss Tisha Marie Cain, I'm going to behave accordingly. And if you don't, thank you for showing me who you are. We cannot be friends.
Right. We cannot be in
Right?
agreement or companionship for nothing.
No.
Yes.
And so
period.
those who ask questions are the ones in power. So if
Mm.
a law enforcement officer comes to your door, you don't have to answer the door. People believe the doorbell was created. If we go back to the root, the doorbell was created for someone to give you notice that they're coming in. If you come into my house unannounced, I guarantee you I will use my Second Amendment rights. Don't do
Right.
that.
Don't do it. Exactly.
Right. But once you know, you know. And so I teach
Right.
people how to come correct and behave accordingly, that they don't care. None of these laws matter to me. You can make more laws. I don't care about all of that because I operate at a higher level of authority that
any
no one
law
has
you
any authority over. Yeah, and you're right. Law school did teach me how to think. However, it's again an indoctrination camp. Regurgitate the elements of the
Always.
crime. You know, like
Yes.
it's like I don't need it. Thank you for showing me, and I operate outside the systems. I have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You could totally come out, but then you're living under a rock, and you know it gets.
Yeah,
I mean, how
it's a,
I want to have my life.
it's a
Yeah,
little bit risque.
yeah,
We're not gonna
it
come all
is,
the way out.
and you know, I like lights, and I don't want to live in a tent out in the forest. You know, I like the amenities. I'm too bougie for that type of stuff. You know, but I could if I want to,
Wanted
right?
to,
So
right?
it's great.
And do
It's
very
so
well.
great.
Who knows? You'll bring all the bouginess to the forest too. Heaven knows. It's like, okay, it's like Alisa, I said we were just going rock climbing. Why? Why do
Well,
you
now
have
we're living out here.
well, are we gonna take pictures or something while we're rock climbing?
Yeah,
That'd be
so
cute.
so the moral of the story is come back. The remedy is within. Come back. Come correct on the language, the words. What really are you saying? What do you want your life to look like? Write it down. There's something cathartic that happens when you take a pen and put it on piece of paper and say, okay, hey, I want to make 75K months. I want to make X amount in the next 6 months. I want to be
Yes.
living here. I want to be driving this. I want to be wearing this, all the material possessions. I want to have this status and I want to,
Be
write
clear.
5 more books. And there's something cathartic about putting pen to paper and holding
Yes.
yourself accountable to get everything. I just really believe it's so easy. And I make it look easy. I do. People say that all the time. Miss Tisha Marie Cain, you just make it look so easy because it is. I just
If you
decide.
believe it's easy, then it is. If you believe
Right.
it's hard, then it is.
Come on, girl.
Again,
That's
I
right.
used to say, I'm not going to say easy. I'm going to say simple. No, I'm going to say easy, easy peasy. Because
See?
easy peasy means you're pre-programming your mind that whatever thought processes, speaking, doing you need to done, it's already done. You just have to walk in it. When you
Yeah.
say it's easy, because think about it, when someone sits and they say something is easy, it's because they have mastered it. You are at mastery.
I
So if you
thank
start
you.
thinking you're at mastery from the beginning, then mastery, you get there sooner and it becomes easy sooner than you thinking, what is this going to be? It's going to be hard. Da, 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 da. Then that's what it's going to be. If we understand how much God-like beings we are. I mean, I was just telling my partner last night, I'm like, everything, I'm looking around at my life and I created it, even the parts I don't like.
Yes.
And I'm like, this thing, when people hear me say think, speak, do, become, they must think I just say that. I really want you to remember. If you just do think, speak, do, become, and the world doesn't remember me for anything else, and you remember me that, I promise you, because every time you hear it and you hear yourself thinking, you're going to be like, yeah, that's why I'm becoming. That's why I'm getting the results I am. Get negative or positive. Your world, your universe, your body, your mind don't know anything except how you program it.
I had that. We just got off of a Europe tour 2 days ago. So I spent 9 days in Europe. And what I saw was in the hotel that we were staying at, they give you like little, what was it? Like crystal wine glasses per se for your water. And then had them by the side of the bed. So, they had the big glass water bottle and you'd pour them into your crystal wine glasses at night to drink water. And I told my husband, I said, wow, I am really enjoying this. And why is it that I really take care of myself and live luxury when I'm out on holiday? When I get back home,
I'm
I'm no
drinking out
longer
of a
drinking from
bottle.
a water bottle. I'm getting
Exactly.
my crystal glass out and I'm going to be drinking from a crystal glass because that makes me feel better. And he goes, great.
Exactly.
And I'm just like those little things. And that's why I'm here as mindset mastery moments with Alisa
Yes.
Whyte, because I'm at mastery level and it's great because everything that I teach, I've done it myself to be able to flip the script, to be able to have you come correct, to live the life of your dreams, to get I want to suck everything out of this life so that by the time I go meet Jesus and I drop the body, I come in exhausted with skid marks. That's my plan.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And exactly what it is. And that's why we now have a Masters of Mindset inner circle for our guest. Only for
Ooh.
our guest. And that's something that we're all going to be invited to, but only for our guests. It's just a hub for us masters of mindset. And we are going to master some things, a few things all over the globe. Wherever we are, it's like I told Tisha, I get to meet you all. I'm connected to. So now I forgot you were overseas. So I was texting you few days ago. You were you were on your trip. That's why I didn't get you. But I have contact with everyone. I mean, you name it, from Fortune 500 companies to just great people all over the world. I'm like, I can't just have them all to myself. What if Tisha met Noel? What if Tisha? And I'm like, what would happen if those two did a project together? Or I don't know, get on the podcast, get on each other's podcast, whatever that looks like, because you're in California and she's in California. I don't know, but that's where that idea came from. And I always wanted to have a Masters of Mindset event, like an event where we actually go on like a speaking tour or something. It's a little fantasy in my mind for our podcast guest host. I'm like, well, let's start coming together so we can figure it out.
I'll invest in that. Let's go.
Yes, it's not even an investment. We're doing all this for free. We'll create together, right? I just want us to come together. I want you all to meet. I don't want to keep you, Tisha, to me alone. I want the other guests to meet you, and you all we can figure out what it is that we do next. What's the next step? It just didn't end at the podcast. It cannot end at the podcast. So we have to come correct. And I'm going to own in my sister's word. We have to come correct, because here's a thing I made up recently that they've been using all over the world. The young kids said, no, you ate that, no crumbs. Have you heard that? I don't know.
Say that again. What do they say?
So when you really if you do a really good dance or you did something really great, they say you ate, meaning like you eat it all up. Like you really did really well. That's, I learned. They say you ate, and then they were like, yes, no crumbs, meaning that you didn't even leave any crumbs, which this is all new to me. So I took that in my mindset, my entrepreneurial mindset, and I call it the no crumbs era. Meaning, whatever you do, do it in its entirety and leave nothing behind. So if we're
Yes.
thinking about our businesses and about our life, yes, do red light therapy. If you're already taking care of your skin and your body and your mind and your soul, and you can add red light therapy, why are you not? Tish just told you to write everything. If the life you're dreaming about includes red light therapy, blue light therapy, whatever it is, that should be on the list you do when you're done listening to this episode, based on what a master of mindset is telling you that she has done to create the life of abundance that she has, right? So you should
Yeah.
have that on your list. So don't leave any crumbs behind, right? Don't leave any crumbs. Think about where you are leaving the crumbs in your life. Like Tish said earlier, she opened up this conversation. I looked at the homeless people walking away and leaving their boxes and little pieces of things behind. I'm like, what am I leaving behind? That's exactly why I call it no crumbs. So when I thought about mindset mastery moments, it's not enough for me to be connected to each guest and have them at my disposal. I thought it would
Mm.
be even better for the planet if they get connected to each other and decide how they want to move forward. But yeah, they can go into the link in the description, but we are busy people. We don't have time for it. But if we all just met in a virtual space that we can just inbox and DM each other without meta intruding in us being, how do I say, what are those message go forward, go connect? Because you can message someone and they never get it. I go through my spam or whatever on social media, and there are people inviting me to speak. There are people reaching out for coaching. There's people, all kinds of people. But Meta decided that they were spam and blocked them from my reach, right? So I
Yeah.
decided, oh no, I'm not creating a Facebook group for my podcast guests. We're going to have our own private community where we can post ourselves out there and everyone will know. As a matter of fact, my team will do it. This is Tisha, blah, 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 put her bio. We can DM each other and be like, Tisha, I'm in LA. What are you doing? I have this event or I have a podcast. I want you to come talk about mindset, that we have access to each other. So you guys will hear more about that because we don't know what we're going to do while we decide no crumbs. But Tisha, everybody wants to get some more information about where to get that book for $8 because I believe that's a transformational
Thank
tool.
you.
I believe that those 6 steps, right? It
Yes, there's
should be a
6. Yep.
handbook. Yeah.
Yep,
That we
and it's a
use.
45-minute read. You can get it on Amazon. I'm a 5 times best-selling published author. This one is really special. I've already sold 1,000 copies of this. Just get it. Act like you're investing $800, 6 transformational habits to help you win from the inside out, and just do the damn thing. Just do the damn thing. And then
Yes.
call me and reach out and say it worked, and I'm gonna go, "I know." It is gonna be so fantastic.
The confidence.
But basically, this is my epic morning routine. This is what I do every
Mm.
day that I don't deviate from. It's given me a launching pad for my life. It's giving me a launching pad for my community so I can help at deeper levels by first doing these 6 habits every day without fail to see if I can be more committed to self and really fill my cup before the day starts. So I just invite you in. I mean, there's so many tools out there for you to live your best life. And
Mhm.
I'm just so honored that my words are available for purchase and that I did the damn thing to get this
'Cause it
out
takes a
there for the
lot of work.
world. Yes, it does.
I would say it takes discipline because a lot of people are doing a lot of work, but that mindset of where my efforts in life will go is what you want to consider as you're listening to us talk. Like you don't just write a book because you don't have responsibilities. We
Mm,
we we cleared our desk. We went away in the woods for 10 weeks and wrote this book that came down from heaven. That is not how that gets done. It's not real. It's that discipline of I'm committed to creating this level of impact in the world.
yes.
I've mastered these skills, habits, and routines. And so I want others to get it. When you make
Yes.
that decision, your thoughts and your thinking is how can I now get to where I do what I said? And then you start answering by speaking to people who will support you on the journey, like Tisha, and you start cutting out time to do the work
Yeah.
regardless. It's like I
Yeah.
tell people, it's like, yeah, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a vacation. No, you keep saying I'm gonna. I'm gonna is another thing you should flush, because I am going to is not a date, it's not a time, and it certainly is not a commitment. Anytime somebody say I'm gonna call you, I'm like, when? And I
Right.
tell
Just
people,
do
if
it.
I say I'll get in touch with you and I don't give you a date and time, it ain't happening. I pretty much just lie to you, because
Yeah.
my life is scheduled.
Yeah, it is. And, I don't even think about I'm going to take a vacation. I've created a life of my dreams that I don't need to take a vacation from.
It's always if you tell me I'm on vacation right now.
Yeah, this is so
Talking
fun talking to another sister who's, wide awake and who's wanting to make millions and impact millions
millions,
and
exactly.
get our voices heard. This is so fun and um how blessed are we to be able to connect
To
today
find
and
each
be
other,
together. And
yes.
I'm just so grateful for again another time with you. I know we had weather the last time, so I'm so
Yes.
grateful that you were able to fit me in. You're a busy woman just like I
And guess
am.
what? And guess what? Last night, I looked at the weather and they said thunderstorms. I'm like, I was
So
laughing. I'm like, that's
so
not good.
being a NLP practitioner, if there's thunderstorms again for us, where in our life are we creating thunderstorms that we need to clear up?
You see?
Right? Because
You
now
see?
this is twice with us with some thunderstorms. So where are some
Right.
little thunderstorms that are happening in our life that we get to go and clear up those projections? And if we clear it up, and actually
Hmm.
this podcast here has been beautiful because I think we have cleared it up. We're like, hey, last time it was kind of wonky and great, and this time's
Yes.
going to be even great too.
Exactly,
And
because we
we're
have
clear.
all the clarity. And
Yeah.
it is raining out there. I'm not sure if it's storming because I can't hear, but I know it is raining. But that's a great reflection question. Again, what happens after a storm?
Hmm. Everything washes away. It washes away. You get to have a clean slate and build again. And it's so great. So I'm so thankful for the storms. I'm thankful for the rain. Because when you go out,
Exactly.
the air smells so good and, you get to bring it into your lungs. And so I am really at a state of gratitude for all things, even the things that I guess my favorite emotion is annoyances, the little annoyances, right? I'm even
Yes.
thankful for the little annoyances because I'm like, I
Yes.
see you. I
I see
see
you
you.
there because
Yeah.
it's giving you information. I had
Yes.
one guest, she said they're invitations. They're invitations
Oh,
that you're getting. Those invitations can be gentle or they can be loud. And usually when you listen to the little annoyances, those are the ones, if you catch it that early, then you escape having a thunderstorm.
but that's so true. Like I see you and catch it
Oh my
early. So that's
goodness. So Tisha has given us a free gift here at Mindset Mastery Moments for all of you listeners and viewers. And it's also in the description. Her money mindset coloring book that makes deep healing approachable and fun. So listeners, go ahead and grab it by going to her Instagram at Tisha Marie Cain and DMing her and letting her know you heard her here on Mindset Master Moments, and she'll share that link. That's our instructions, right? We're not sharing the
Yep,
link
that's
with them.
great.
Yeah,
Yep.
let her know. And go to www.tishamariecain.com for all things Tisha Marie Cain. Oh, you're so gorgeous. I can't believe our time goes by so quickly. And I know you'll be back again at another time and we'll have deeper conversation, because one of the things that I am an NLP practitioner as well. And I would love for us to go into a little bit more depth about what that can look like, and that it's not woo woo stuff. Hypnosis and NLP is actually the shortcut to really
Uh-huh.
resetting and reclaiming your life through mindset mastery. So
And the easy button. I love the easy button. So hypnosis is the
yes,
easy button.
yes, mindset reset does have an easy button. It does. And it's, if you haven't heard of neuro linguistic programming, that is what it is. And you can look it up. So Tish and I are going to do a special episode on that in the weeks to come. So stay tuned for that. Tisha, thank you so much for being here, my gorgeous
Thank you,
sister.
Alisa. Oh, I'm so blessed to be here. So thank you again.
Thank you. And disruptors, again, keep mastering your mindset. Think, speak, do, become. Let Tisha know that you heard her here, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now. Perfect.